Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
My head, my stomach has got more discrimination. Which medicine is meant for whom? The stomach knows. How beautiful, isn't it? So, we have got some picture about ourselves, but in reality, we are something else. And this discrepancy, when it is not acceptable to us, it is presented as anger. Therefore, what is required is, we have to understand that our earlier samskar will not wipe out so easily. And there is only one method. To go beyond the impact of our habits. Earlier samskar means habits. To go beyond the impact of our habits. We have habits. The more we are grown up, the more number of funny habits we have. And we become slave to those habits. Then we can't give them up. The other day one person was talking to me. I went to see somebody in the hospital. I said, hey, where is your son? Oh, he's at home. He died. His wife took. I said, what is wrong with him? No, he's having terrible headache. I said, don't wake him up. Let him sleep. I'll talk to him later. Afterwards he talked to me. His problem was, Swamiji, whenever I stop taking tobacco, my headache begins. And I am fed up of eating tobacco. So please tell me what I should do. I said, you try some technique. I give him some technique and then see whether it helps or not. Now what is happening with that person? That habit of eating a particular thing, tobacco, has overpowered him. And when he is unable to control that, either he will become angry and cranky with everybody, and if he doesn't have the freedom at home, isn't it? Then what will happen? That anger or crankiness is manifested as headache. This is all to be discovered from within. Therefore, what is required is, how do we control our habitual lifestyle? This is done by upasana. Our great poet, saint of Maharashtra used to say, Upasanela dridhachalavave, bhudeva santasi sadanamave, satkarma yogi vayaghalavave, sarvamukhi mangalabolavave. We must have a very firm personal worship. Personal worship doesn't mean our own. Na tatra suryo bhati na indradhara. We have to have our own rules and regulation. One or two gods. Every day do their puja. Every day read some portion of maybe Bhagavad, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita. And spend some time with our Ishtadevata. Every day. When you do this, what happens? You discover a support. And whenever the mind is under turmoil, disturbed, go and sit before your Ishtadevata. Bhagwan, please help. Gaya, please help. Try, it does help. And when you thus have your own upasana, the personal God being worshipped, then alone we can help ourselves. Please remember one thing. Many people, without getting the qualification to contemplate on the Nirgun Nirakar Paramatma Tattva, they directly start their sadhana on Nirgun Nirakar. That which is beyond time, that which is not conditioned by space. Isn't it? No. First of all, we have to discover the presence of that immutable factor in constantly changing world. In 12th chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna will tell us, as long as we consider ourselves to be gross body, we can never appreciate Paramatma without body. See, Devo Bhutva Devam Jajet. If you want to worship the Lord, first of all, we have to have the purification of the body. With the purified body alone we worship the Lord. You must have seen our Namudriji, when he does some puja or havan, etc. First of all, he starts doing his puja. And he is not doing namaskar to that Agni Kunda. He is doing to himself. So first of all, he invokes the Lord in his own body. When we study this Sri Suk, this Rudri, there you will see, in each and every part of our body, we invoke the different devatas. And then we do the puja. So, as long as we consider ourselves to be gross body, our upasana must have a gross form of the Lord. Or else we only get lost in imagination. And the abstract language of contradiction becomes so enchanting without knowing the meaning behind it. That's why many students, when they get on the spiritual path, they get very much enchanted by the language like the great saint and sage of the century, J. Krishnamurti. He may be great, but are we qualified to read what he is talking? He says Guru is not essential, and we are very happy. Chalo, mil gaya hai. But to whom Guru is not essential? He who has merged himself with the Supreme, for him Guru is not essential. But we take conveniently what is convenient for us. Therefore, this habitual lifestyle and the impact of our earlier lifestyle can be curtailed and controlled only by upasana. And in this upasana, two things are achieved. One, for example, in our upasana we observe, let us say, one Ekadashi we do, or we observe a particular day, Friday, Thursday, as a fast day. That day we eat only fast food. Because it is a fast day, eat fast food. So, when we are observing that particular day, as upasana, as a rule, as brata, two things happen. One, we discover and invoke the self-confidence in ourselves that we can do this. Many a times we have no confidence in our own inherent infinite potentiality. When you came over here, Sanskrit, isn't it? And when I told you straight away, take a pen and paper in the hand, now see how much you have improved. Not even 2 months, but what a difference. And suppose I had given books in your hand, I tell you, you would never have been able to write Ksha. It is not Urdu you are writing Ksha, isn't it? Raga Dvesha, Paramatma. That Paramatma is written as Paramatma, and you chant as Paramatma. So, it is not that we are not able to do, we are able to do, provided we have to awaken that sleeping lion in us. This is achieved through upasana. Second thing, many a times we have a wrong notion that without a particular thing, life is impossible. It is not. Nothing is required in this life, in this world to live. Because we are the substratum of everything. To reach to this destination in evolution, we have to discover independence from a pillow, independence from achar, independence from papad. We have to achieve that independence. I am not influenced by the time, space and object, except papad. Ram, 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 Ram. Isn't it? So if we have to achieve that independence, first of all we have to start from somewhere. So when we take a small little thing, that for 1 month I am not going to take sugar, I am not going to eat sweets. And from that day onward, you will see all the best sweets in the whole world will start landing around you and showing you tongue. Dekho kaise hai. And then you say, Acha, kisne dekha to nahi. Then we understand how great weakness we have got for the worldly objects. So when we do upasana, by this upasana, we conquer the habit of leading a habitual life. Now, one upasana you all are doing. What is that? You are not sitting in the same seat every day. This great achievement that you are having, you will not appreciate it now. When you go through another year or so, and then I'll tell you, you sit only in this particular place, don't change the place for 15 days. And then suddenly somebody comes there. Immediately the mind will revolt. Mere jagah par kaun baitha? When we get so much attached to this useless place, this body wherein we are staying, we have to discover detachment from the body. This remains only a word without a meaning called as noise. This all together is called as upasana. And by this upasana, we break our habitual lifestyle. That is what I told all of you, whatever you are doing earlier, whether you are following Somvar or Mangal or Budh, this breath, that breath. On Tuesday I take 8 times. Because Hanuman is there, so I go on eating. No. You have no choice. When the bell goes, eat. And when you start leading this, then you will see what a freedom it is. Thereafter, you will never have problem about food in your life. The food has come, therefore it must be eaten. It is not what I don't feel like eating. Don't be sentimental. Eat. I don't feel like eating. Isn't it? This discovery of freedom is achieved through upasana. And when we become free from the self-created habitual lifestyle, then alone we have broken the barrier. Or else, that is how it happens, the elderly people, when they step on the spiritual path, they feel more frustrated with the youngsters. Because youngsters are able to adapt immediately. And elderly people, they have their earlier samskar. I was going to that Mahatma. I have gone to that Mahatma. Kitne ashram to ulte gira diye. Isko try karenge. And therefore their earlier habits, earlier samskar, they don't allow to come out of that. And that is why we have been telling you, whatever is taught in the class, only that you must write in your notes, nothing else. By then only you can discipline your mind. I know you know far more than anybody else. But that is not required. What is required is that what you have heard, are you able to write only that, nothing else? Then only we have controlled our mind. This is how, when we don't understand the importance of this, we prepare our lecture. Atma, Anatma. And you go. And when you go there, and you are told that, Swamiji, this is a very old place, here many Mahatmas have come, and very huge gathering comes, so please come. So you go with all your notes prepared, this, that, and that, and you go there, and there all Rajasthani tambu are sitting. In Rajasthan, those ladies, they have a tambu covering. And you don't know whether they are listening or sleeping. Now try. And you are all Atma, Anatma. Kya karu is Atma ka? And after you talk or you don't talk, half an hour, 1 hour, they are in Sayyam. Nothing disturbs them. And after all that is over, then they will come one by one. And then they will put chandan and the mala. Last time I went to Rajasthan, they have put on my neck, not one, not two, about 26 malas. And some malas were big, some small, and when the small mala doesn't go, that Amma will push it. So I have taken out my glasses and it will break. And after all that is over, and then they'll videotape. And after all that is over, and then they say, Mahatma Ji ki jai ho, Sadguru na, apne Sadguru Maharaj ki jai. They don't say like that. Apne, tumhare nahi, apne. And then you are gone with great, a Sandipani product. And learned in English medium. You go there, you have become so medium. So this pre-formed habits, the pre-formed lifestyle has to be conquered, and it is conquered only by upasana. When we do this, we discover freedom. Whether it is most intellectual audience of the universities, I am supposing, or if it is the most intellectual audience of the Lions Club or the Rotary Club, or it is the most intelligent audience of the Sandipani students, isn't it? What to talk before whom, that wisdom nobody can give you. That you have to have from within. And this is possible when our mind is free from any preconceived notions. If our mind is all the time functioning under preconceived notions, then we become slave of our earlier lifestyle, earlier habit. And this is what we have to break. How we do this? This is taken care of in this 5th canto. And that is done by upasana. And thereafter there are 2 more problems that every seeker faces. What are those that you will see in? For getting firm abidance in the self, or for getting firmly rooted in the kind of spiritual practice that we are following, or to achieve anything in our life, certain disciplines are required. And these disciplines are discussed in this 5th canto of Bhagavat to tell the seeker that unless we have purity of conduct and character, the truth can never be reached. This is to be very clearly understood. Na virato duscharitat, na shanto na samahitaha, na shanta manaso vapi prajnanena evnamapnuya. When it comes the progress in the material sciences, one doesn't have to bother about character and conduct. But when it comes to the self-unfoldment, there is no compromise, even 1%. This is achieved by dharmanushthan. Then the control of our senses and the mind is achieved through yoga-abhyas. Then the habitual lifestyle, the impact of the earlier samskaras, habits, is conquered by upasana, and thereafter, when we follow these three things, dharmanushthan, yoga-abhyas and the upasana, there is one problem that crops up, and that problem is holier than thou attitude develops. And this is the most detrimental attitude for a seeker to have in his heart. And the result of this attitude is that our life is self-discipline, we are devotees of the Lord, we are following a very strict yoga abhyas. Therefore, we are better than others. When this kind of thought props in our mind, understand we are reducing from the sattva guna to the rajo guna, ultimately to tamo guna. And therefore, all what we have done as our spiritual practice is spoiled if we do not check ourselves at this point. What happens when we don't check this? Then our attitude is like this. When I talk, the whole audience stand still. They don't remain in this plane of consciousness. They go to deep sleep. Isn't it? Or when I talk, everybody gets realized instantaneously. Isn't it? But when other people talk, they don't know even how to talk. But as regards I am concerned, konyosti sadrusho maya. Or else, if that poor God has done a mistake by giving good voice to us. I remember when I was a student like you, I always used to feel very bad that I can't sing. So I tried with everything, kawali vagare, everything I tried. Whenever somebody sits with a harmonium, I always get a picture. One should have a jacket and a topi and then So I used to feel bad that I am not able to sing. And I tried. And as much jiddi I was, so much jiddi Bhagwan was. And finally I won. How I gave up. And how I gave up the whole thing? By a very simple technique. And that has helped me a lot. How I should serve him, who should decide? Me or he? He should decide. So when he doesn't want me to serve him by singing with tabla peti, why should I worry? See? Otherwise what happens? If we are able to know something, do something very efficiently in comparison to other, we develop a specific character. I am better than others. And if this happens, if we compare ourselves with anybody in the world, we have degraded from the spiritual evolution to the materialistic approach in spirituality. In spirituality, there is no competition with anybody. Because here, we are not competing anything in this world. In the corporate world, there is nothing but competition, cutthroat competition for a rat race, in which who is the rat is the only thing to be decided. Whether the goal that they are pursuing is the rat or those who are running, they are the rats. But when we talk of the spiritual unfoldment, there is no competition. Why there is no competition? It's not that there is only one post. Now, why there is a competition in the world? Because there is only one post and there are many ghosts who want to have that one post. And therefore there is a competition. And the competition can be two ways. Either you run fast and achieve, or don't allow the other fellow to run. The second method is normally followed. Typical of our Indian mentality. Once when I was in States, somebody asked me, Swamiji, can you define an Indian? I said, yes. Individually an ingenious, collectively a calamity. Isn't it? So that is our Indian method. Pull somebody's leg so that others don't go ahead, and therefore I am there. So this competition is no more valid on the spiritual path because we are not getting something which others would have got. No. On the contrary, here you have got a monopoly. Nobody wants to go to Paramatma. Isn't it? Therefore, here what is required is when we follow on the good things in life, the likelihood is we get caught up in our own goodness. The bondage of goodness is more terrible than the bondage of badness. Because if somebody is bad, there is a possibility that he may come to realize and he may change and he may become good. But if somebody is good and because of his goodness he is comparing with others and condemning others, it is very difficult for that man to find out where is his fault. Because all the time he is comparing. That is why to protect ourselves from ourselves, there is only one method, and this method Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Surrender is the only method. Keep your sir under the feet of the teacher. No other method. The more we are able to surrender ourselves to that extent, you will see that all the small little strokes which were required for bringing out the perfect beauty in us, that is brought out. And therefore, one of the most important aspect is, after this upasana, is Sharanagati. So when we practice Sharanagati, surrender, then what happens? We are not proud of our achievements in life. See, there are two problems that crop up when we become proud of our achievements in life. One, we compare ourselves with others who have not achieved anything and get an illusory contentment. And second thing is, when we have achieved some success in our life, and if we feel contentment of what we have achieved, we get stagnated on the spiritual path. See, this thought comes in Bhakti Shastra, in Tulsidaji's Ramcharitmanas. There, Tulsidaji writes, those who feel content and satisfied by chanting the Lord's name, they have not understood devotion even 1%. Any amount of number of times you go on chanting the Lord's name, there will never be a sense of, now enough, now I don't want to take Lord's name. No, it will never come. The more you chant the Lord's name, the more your hunger to chant His name grows. This growth in hunger, growth in love is infinite. And to protect ourselves from this fall, this surrender, Sharanagati is essential. By this, we do not become stagnant in our sadhana and we do not compare ourselves with others and thereby live in the fool's paradise. Now, after this was said, now 4 methods. Now the last, we are studying Atma Bodh. that without knowing the self, any amount of sadhana we may do, we are only in the periphery of the spirituality. We have to attack the core. In Mundakopanishad we will see Pranavo dhanu sharojatma brahmatal lakshamuchyate apramattena veddhavyaha sharavat tanmayo bhavet. Pranavo dhanu, Onkar is the bow, Sharoyatma, Jivatma is the arrow, and Laksha is Brahma, Brahmatal Laksha Muchyate. Discover yourself to be of the nature of the Brahman, one without a second. Brahmatal Laksha Muchyate. And to achieve this, what is to be done? Apramattena veddhavyaha. Without any inadvertence, the arrow has to be shot right into the bullseye, not on the bull. Because those who shot on the bull, they go to this share market. Today the bull was up, bull was down. And in share market, the bull doesn't have the eyes. Isn't it? Therefore, this knowledge of the self is the last thing and the only thing. Therefore, earlier sadhana is only in preparing ourselves so that we become qualified to know the reality. After we have become qualified to know the reality, thereafter we are benefited by the instruction from the teacher. When the teacher says Tattvamasi, our knowledge doesn't become Tattvamasi, Hanji, Tusi Asinasi. Isn't it? When somebody tells us, this is a book, what is the knowledge we get? This is a book. Somebody says, what is this? This is a mic. What knowledge we get? This is a mic. And in the Adhyatmik Upadesh, the instruction is Tattvamasi. And what knowledge you get? You don't get knowledge Tattvamasi. You get knowledge when the instruction is Tattvamasi, the knowledge is Aham Brahmasmi. When this happens, then alone we are walking the path in the right manner. Therefore, to come to this point, earlier 4 sadhanas are required. Without that, we may study scriptures. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yamaivaisha vrunute tena labhyaha tasyaja atma vivrunute tanum swam. Kathopanishad, Mundokopanishad, both the Upanishad, this mantra comes. Ayam Atma pravachanena nalabhya. This Atma Tattva is not gained by pravachanena. It has 2 meanings. By pravachanena givena, by giving pravachan, or pravachanena listenena, both ways. Neither by talking nor by listening, but Yamai Vesha Vrunute, when we want nothing other than the Paramatma, then alone the Paramatma chooses us. He is very choosy. Therefore, this Atmajnana is the last lead. Now these 5 topics are discussed in this canto very exhaustively. So, how the whole thing starts with the foundation of this knowledge, now we develop the story aspect. See, all of us lead a life of our own convictions about the world, our conviction about ourselves, and our conviction about God. In Bombay there is no God. G for Gujarati, G for God. So, we have got our own convictions about the Ishvara, about Jagat and about Jiva. And depending on those convictions, we lead our life. Like all of us are fully convinced. Even Paramatma himself comes and tells in our ears that look here, you are Satchidananda, you are not the body. ठीक है? हाँ जी ठीक है. After Paramatma, he doesn't know me. Even we will ridicule the Lord himself. Bhagavan, you don't know me? I am an Paramatma? Impossible. So we are so convinced. We have no doubt about it. So we lead our life with the conviction that we are the body. And therefore, the question which troubled Ramana Maharshi never troubles us. Ramana Maharshi had a problem. Who am I? We have no problem. We are fully convinced. So our conviction about ourselves that we are the body, and with that conviction we live life. Similarly, our conviction about the world is also very clear. The world, dangerous, cheat, beware. We have no doubt about it. And therefore anybody coming in our contact, we have only one mathematics, that is mathematics of suspicion and doubt. Suppose we are told by the scriptures that in your life, other than Bhagavan, nobody comes. Again we will laugh. Patari, where from these jokes are coming? God comes in my life. I don't get a job, where from God will come? Isn't it? Those who don't get job, they go for jogging. So, we have got very clear concept and conviction about the world. No doubt about it. That the world is the source of happiness. That the world is most useless. I am unhappy because I don't get that particular thing from the world. I am unhappy before marriage because I am not married. Remaining you have understood, isn't it? So some of you are in the anti-mortem state, some of you are in the post-mortem state. Mortem is marriage. This is a French word. So, we have these convictions about the world, and with this we live our life. And third, we have conviction about God. What is the conviction about God? God is sitting above the clouds and He is packing like the homeopathy pills. He is packing special brands of miseries. And He writes my name, address and the zip code, and every letter misses me, but His misery directly reaches me. God is producing all the misery exclusively tailored for me. Isn't it? So we have these three convictions. One about the world, second thing about ourselves, and third thing about God. And with these convictions, we enter on the spiritual path. So with these kinds of conviction, if we are not ready to change, we have not been born as spiritual seekers. So where from our spiritual sadhana begins? Two things. A readiness to change our convictions about ourselves, about the world, and about the Ishvara. We must be ready to change our own convictions. Second thing, we must be able to change. Only readiness is not required. I am ready. Bhagavan, try. No. We have to put forward efforts. So when this ability and the readiness to change our own conviction is cultivated, invoked in our own life, then alone our spiritual sadhana begins, not otherwise. Now, to tell this, our Bhagavad Mahapuran tells many beautiful events in the past. We have seen the daughters of Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, Devahuti, and then her son was who? Kapil Muni, and we have seen also how Kapil Muni instructed Sankhya Yoga to his mother and she got liberated, and Kapil Muniji also went to Ganga Sagar and there he also was received by the Lord Ocean and he became one with the ocean. Now these Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, they also had some sons, and one of the sons' name was Priyavrata. Priyavrata, he was right from childhood very much satsanga premi. He always used to be in the company of the good people. Some people have got that inborn liking for satsanga. So, when he was child, he went with Narad Bhagwan to his ashram. And there he used to get so much lost in the Lord's name and singing His glory. He was not interested to take over the kingdom. So, Swayambhu Manu Maharaj told, Beta, you are born to rule. Therefore, now enough of the ashram. Come back and get married. So, this tragedy of giving advice to the children get married for any disease is from the time of Manu Bhagwan. So don't blame your parents. They are like that only. And particularly if we are Indians, there are two things in India. There is one thing I remember, it's called a Soothsaker. There is something Ayurvedic thing. And it looks like, very that Hawaban Harade type. And anything happens to anybody, you go to the old ladies. Kya ho gaya? Back pain, come here. They will take little bit of 1 drop of milk, black cow's white milk. And after that is done, in the Soothsaker, and now chato. Feeling good? The moment you take, you have to say this is good, or you get another dose. So these old ammas, for any disease, they have got only one, Soothsaker Matra. That's it. And in the same manner, for any problem of a young boy or a girl, for anything, suppose that boy is not getting a job, get him married. With such an authority they tell, or if somebody is very angry, frustrated and all sorts of things, then get married, he'll be all right. I remember there was one boy in Allahabad. He was huge, structure, and good for nothing, will do nothing. Simply is to sit and eat and sit, not doing anything. As a result, the whole energy was stored. And his parents were frustrated. And he used to tell, why are you frustrated? When I am not frustrated. And finally, they decided, as any Indian parents could do, let us get him married. He said, if you want to get married, how does it matter? I am not going to move out of the house. And then he got married. When I saw that boy, it was difficult to accept him as a boy. He was a boiler. Huge structure. So, when he got married, earlier at least for taking food, he used to come to the dining table. Now, after marriage, he got a free servant. So, he used to lie down on his bed And he got, that hospital kind of dining table made, which was coming on his stomach. And there itself he used to eat. And then the wife will take away the plate and all that, bring the bowl, and she will wash. And he was asangoham. And such a huge structure. Isn't it? So for anything happens to anybody, get married. So here, Manu Maharaj thought, this Priyavrat getting so much involved in devotion, no good, get him married. So Priyavrat thought that all parents are same. So he didn't listen. Then Manu Maharaj told Brahmaji, my child doesn't listen to me. This is also from that time onward. This is nothing new. So if our children don't listen to us, you shouldn't worry about it. ऐसा ही होता है. And then Brahmaji said, okay, I'll try. And when Brahmaji told Priyavrat, then Priyavrat thought that my father told maybe out of ignorance. How can Brahmaji talk out of ignorance with four heads? So he ultimately agreed, okay, I'll get married. And then he gets married, and thereafter he leads a life of perfect karma yoga, like the Lord's sun or the moon. And because of that, he has established the most ideal society during his period tenure as a king. And when he became old, these samskar in the Balvihar classes, they again came out. We feel, that Balvihar is new thing. It is not new. It was going on, and the first Balvihar Sevak was Naradji. Because Naradji alone instructed Dhruva, Naradji alone instructed Prahlad, and also this Priyavrat.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.